2020. Notice is hereby given that a strategic plan workshop meeting of Commissioners Court of Grimes County will be held Wednesday, 22nd of January 2020, to convene immediately following the 9 a.m. Commissioners Court regular meeting in the annex located at 114 West Buffington Avenue. This meeting is now called to order. The time is 11:33. The date is 1/22/2020. I would ask that we go into recess. And how long, Commissioners, do you need to take for lunch? Hour, hour and a half?
I'm comfortable with whatever the court.
We'll reconvene at 1 o'clock.
That'd be great.
Is that acceptable? So I will recess this court at 11:34, and we'll reconvene at 1 p.m. 11:34, we're going to reconvene this workshop court at 1:04. Make a note that Commissioner Cox is going to return because his Dr. Pepper is here, but he has yet to return. What I would like to do, Commissioners, is we have a list of strategic items, and I'd like to start working down that list to reconfirm, because we had a workshop a year ago, and that workshop date was on Wednesday, January the 23rd, and it convened after our regular meeting. But we went down the list and marked off items that we said were complete, and we restated some of the terms for some of the other items that were 4 or 5 years. We knocked them down to 2 or 3 years, or down to months, and so forth. With your permission, I'd like to go down those, and this time around, those that are yet to be completed confirm that whose name is beside them, they're still willing to or able to work on that item. And I also have the original strategic plan worksheet and comments here, so any of these that we would want, I can talk about the category, what it is, what is the current situation, what is already happening, what needs to happen, what strategies are most favored by the citizens, and then also we stated specific recommendations for future action. So again, some of these are already completed, but any of those that we need to question, I have the data from the original consultant group out of Sam Houston that put all this together for us on the basis of citizen input. And correct me, this was put together in 2015, and it was activated on around that period of time. So 16, 17, 18, 19, it's a plan that we've been working on for the last 4.5, almost 5 years. So, is that agreeable with the Commissioners? Mm-hmm. All right. Item number 1, improved two-way radios for EMS. I have that one as complete. Better internet speed. That was a 4 to 5 year project that was assigned to me. Only thing I can say about that is it's still somewhat on hold, simply because we're waiting for the fiber loop to be completed. Although we are connected down on the south end, that is typically going to healthcare facilities, governmental facilities, and educational facilities. And the reason educational facilities are squeaked in there is because of the school nurses that are there. So once that is all tied in and those businesses are on board, then the next will be businesses, and then also open to the public. I do know that Matt Silcock, I think I'm saying that correctly, Matt has a company, and they have, matter of fact, Commissioner Gobianska, did they or are they going to put a tower on your property?
I've had it for.
You already got it?
I've had the internet since August, I believe.
So
I've had it since April.
So y'all both have better internet speed?
Much better.
So how would still in progress?
Yes.
Yes.
Do any of y'all have any
I
idea?
also want to mention that there has been some information put out to the public about Mid-South.
Yes, Mid-South.
Survey.
Center, right?
Mid-South's doing a survey as to future internet needs.
Right.
And it's consumer driven. So the more you asked about, then the need may be presented for them to also bring internet throughout the area. The GrimesCounty.net is a site to, what do you call it, site of line internet. So it has to have sight line. It's not fiber, and but we are working, he's working diligently to get in on some of the fiber.
If you don't want to answer, you don't have to. Did you have to pay for the tower? Or
I didn't have to, but I did, just to get the,
Oh.
get the internet out there.
So
in
if
that
I
area.
wanted a tower, would you pay for mine? No, okay.
But you can go as a group, if
Yes.
you need a tower to put you above the trees,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you can do it as a group.
And I'm on my personal location is on a hill, and that could take in a number of my neighbors.
And that's why I put one in on my property.
'Cause you have
because I'm at a high elevation. And actually, on my homestead, there's 12 houses there, so we got a whole group of houses in that area. And there's other neighbors that are in line of sight.
Okay.
Eventually,
So-
we'll get those on.
It's still in process, but,
The biggest hurdle was the fiber.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
coming in there.
If I may, I talked to some people at Mid-South yesterday. They're planning to actually put the fiber on the power lines. That's what I was told. And they're gonna run it on the existing power lines that they have. Because they're upgrading the guy wires on them to do that.
right,
And,
they've actually put it up in front of my home,
yeah.
across that power line. Okay.
And
So-
also, there is a tower going up at our new site at 2445.
That's the road and bridge site?
Yes.
Oh, good.
There's probably gonna be an 85-foot tower there, so it's gonna be, isn't that right?
That's what he's been talking about.
Yeah, 85 feet.
What's that gonna do to your properties?
It's going to be minimal impact. We're actually putting it on the piece of property we sold. They've agreed to put it on their side of the fence
Oh, cool.
at that intersection of the fences, so the guy legs can follow the fence line, and we'll have minimal impact,
Excellent.
for usable space.
Okay.
And that was long range, Judge. So-
Well, it was long range, but it was.
Long term is what
Long term,
they say.
but probably 1 to 2 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Sheree, I'm gonna ask you to take diligent notes. If you,
I'll update the website.
ma'am,
I'll have to update the website too.
right, but if you don't get something, don't hesitate to ask us.
Sure.
On 3, internet reach service to all the county. I guess that's
Same
the
conversation.
same thing.
Yeah.
Do we need to combine those, or because I'm interested in shortening this list.
I think it could
Yeah.
be combined.
Yeah, I think they should
Okay.
be combined.
So we'll do 2 and 3 together. County website updates. That was completed last time around. Enforced burn ban, that was resolved last time around. The district attorney said that they would prosecute, and the sheriff's office said that they would write citations. Agenda item number 6, county animal shelter. Commissioner Dobianski, was yours. Do you want to update the timeline on that possibly?
Yes, we sent out some letters last week to I think about 10 companies, trying to get an estimate on what it's gonna cost to build the building that we want for the shelter. When we get those back in, we will know approximately how much more money we will need to raise to build a facility, and we are very close to launching a website to start that fundraiser and some mailers that will be sent out to the public. We've got a meeting tomorrow evening here to view the website. So that's kind of where we are on the animal shelter.
Okay.
May I ask a question right
Sure,
there?
sure,
We
absolutely.
say county animal shelter. Is that actually a county animal shelter?
It's for the county, but it's not, actually owned by the county. It's gonna be on county property, but we have a 501c set up to privately fund.
Okay, I'm asking that question because I see that brought up quite a bit about a county, like we're the actual ones.
Yes.
When there's a 501(c), that's actually the person that's,
Yeah.
the unit, the entity that's actually designing, building and all that, it's gonna run the 501(c)
Yeah.
and not county owned.
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, the name of the shelter will be Grimes County Animal Rescue.
Okay.
What is your timeline on that, do you think?
We are hoping to break ground possibly by the end of the year on it, if we can raise the money.
And county funds right now do not go into this.
No.
Okay. I'm just clarifying.
Well, and and I don't know all the details are worked out, but part of the discussion is that locating this over by the sheriff's office, that part of the labor is gonna be provided by the diversion crew, or that's,
Yes,
and that's, of course, that's subject to change with the next sheriff, I guess.
sure.
Or the same sheriff, but that's kind of where some of the labor's coming from for that project. And the question that you and I discovered or talked about, were you able to determine the land or the?
I hadn't talked to the surveyor yet about that, but
Okay.
we'll just have to move farther down,
Okay.
across, from where we were actually gonna put that.
So it is gonna be 1 to 2 years still? Little.
Yes.
I would think, yeah.
Yes.
If I don't look up and somebody in the audience has a comment or question, feel free to do something politely to get my attention. Digitized county records.
We're still currently ongoing digitizing. Right now, we're doing marriage records. The books, I went, visited the facility last week and got to see them working on our books. They've already got 2 completed and we've got 2 more they're working on. So we should have the marriage records finished this year, hopefully by in the next month or 2. Then my next project is probate records.
Is it appropriate for me to be assigned to that, or is that more appropriate for you to be assigned?
Well,
Or,
I mean, there's
but there's
other
also
county
the,
records besides county.
I was gonna say, there's also the district clerk
Correct.
has records, Road and Bridge has subdivision records and things of that sort.
And working there, next week they're gonna start scanning our plats. So that plat scanning project will begin next week. They're delivering the new plat cabinets this week. And then also the naturalization records, I had asked about that. I found out that those were scanned way back, or like in the 80s. And the company that scanned them, is going to send me a digital copy. They were on microfilm, now they've been digitized, and they're gonna send me those as well.
Okay, I guess since we're dealing with different elected officials, it's appropriate to leave me
Right.
as the assigned to.
Good try.
If you don't ask, you don't get, But the long term, where we've had it 4 to 5 years,
I think we could probably shorten that to 2 to 3 years.
But then you got the tax office. that
Yes,
still
the
Yeah,
has
tax
that.
still got the tax
Yes.
off.
Tax office.
Boo-hoos that needs to be done and don't
Ms.
have any money to
Waters.
do it with.
but in your opinion, do you think we could bring it down to 2 to 3 years? I mean, we've been at 4 to 5.
With the budget coming up, you might.
We might make it 7 to 8.
If you wanna start budgeting probably $50
All right,
grand
then-
a year,
You can
Then
say
we'll-
2 to 5.
Sir,
You can say 2 to 5.
2 to 5?
you know.
Yeah.
Let's do that. Number 7, 2 to 5. We'll see what the tax cap does to us. Number 8, promotion of county-wide events. Commissioner Walker.
Well, since we had we now work in conjunction with our Economic Development Director who has been taking care of that for us, and it is being currently promoted on our website. So you have one location to go to see what events are being held throughout the county on the county website, which Cherie updates, and Mr. Johnny also does updates. Is that correct?
So are we satisfied that the promotion of that is complete, or the process?
The process, I think, is complete.
Okay. That's ongoing, but the process for, or the, it will be in 11 minutes.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought you were gone.
It's your turn, I went through it this
I thought it was
morning.
1:32, but they said 1 o'clock.
It's 1 o'clock?
But that's all right. We're only down to number 8.
Johnny,
Yes, sir?
I just want to clarify, so you're talking about promotion of the county, but you're talking about promotion as far as a tourism promotion. You're not talking about for promotion for economic development purposes.
No, we were talking about tourism and whatever.
Countywide
And
events
events,
going on.
things of that sort. So I think it's fair to say we've established the process of how we do it, how we go through it, how we get it advertised and so forth, so.
Yes.
Okay,
And then when we did, for instance, the courthouse event last year, there were a lot of resources, that Al pulled together
mhm,
to make that happen. So, yeah, we have things in place now that are, like you said, they're ongoing.
right. So are we in agreement to say number 8's complete?
Yes, and I also want to add to that, and when he said that, it brought into mind, you also have your court systems that are on there, so people can go online and find out if court is being held. So it's not only just tourism events, it's also
Business events.
business events.
Yeah. Number 9?
Judge, you got a question?
Yes, sir.
So should these events?
Would you identify yourself, please, sir?
Oh, pardon?
Just state your name.
Oh, I'm Siva, by the way.
Okay.
I live in Spring Woodlands, but I'm extremely interested in what's happening here in Johns
Okay.
County. So my question is, should these events be marketed in Houston, which is going to attract the pretty significant crowd to come here and participate in all these events? I understand going to the county website, I think it's really useful,
Mhm.
but I also think there should be a way to advertise these events in.
And I appreciate that comment, but one of the reasons we moved out here is we didn't want Houston to come join us. No, but your point's well taken because like the Ren Fest and
Yes.
some of those things, it would be nice to have a larger crowd from outside the county. What is your suggestion on that, or your thought? Specifically being outside of the county, what would help you?
There's a newspaper that I get once in a month, which is very good. I forget the name of it.
I know Magnolia has what they call the potpourri, I believe it is, Magnolia potpourri.
Not
They've also got something called the Courier.
That's
Yeah,
a Conroe Courier, isn't it? That's their daily paper.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Well,
We all get it and it's free.
Yeah,
Thrifty Nickel? Is it the Thrifty Nickel?
They have
No,
a
no,
green,
no,
they have a
no,
green
it's-
sheet
it's
over
like
there too,
a-
I believe.
It's like a Houston Business Journal kind of.
Houston Press Journal or something like that?
No, is it called it Connected? Or something. I can email the name, but
Please.
it's free.
yeah,
And what that thing does is it gives a list of all the events that's happening. For example, the Woodlands area has one edition, the Spring has another edition.
okay.
And it covers all the events, everything that's happening, the new things that are being opened, the construction that's happening, the road closings, everything that covers, and it's free for the public. I'll send them in. And I
Okay.
think 1 or 2 advertisements there will be very good.
okay, that's a
All
great
of,
idea.
all of the emails can be obtained off of the website for the commissioners.
He's got my email. Hi, I'm Cherie.
Okay.
We've been talking.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
good, all right. And Connie, if you have any insight being a part of the news world
Okay.
that might be helpful, okay. Number 9, enforcement of weights and loads on county roads, County Commissioner Dobianski.
we have had in place for 2 years now. This is the
Right.
second year.
Have we actually bought the weights and measurement
No.
equipment though?
No, we haven't,
Okay,
because we can't get the training to operate the scales. The Department of Public Safety will not train deputies right now, is the last thing that I've heard on that. And, but because we have the deputy now, I think we have made a little bit of progress
Oh, yeah.
on slowing down the,
we haven't been able to measure their weights, but we've been able to see the damage before and after and those
Yes.
kind of things.
yeah.
Well, and he does a very good job of when he stops trucks that appear to be overweight, writing them tickets for all sorts of other stuff.
Yeah.
So they get the message.
Gotcha.
And it helps make sure they understand that they need to have permits. So that part of it works out pretty well. But no, we're not actually weighing anybody at this point in time.
Have you found out who they're hauling for on 215? Is that Joshua out of Beaumont or wherever?
I have not. Patrick was
Sizemore.
check-
Sizemore's the guy that was in there before. If it
Patrick was
is,
checking on that, I have not checked back with him. to see.
they are not loading those trucks as heavily as they did the last time, because I've seen several of them go out of there, and they're not putting as much weight on them. So it's helped to keep from tearing that road up as bad. So I will try to catch one of those guys and see who that is.
Do you know when DPS will start back training officers?
I don't.
Since they office in can you talk, is it Wilson, Sergeant Wilson?
This wouldn't be her, it would be,
But she might have a
Is that
contact.
Yeah.
Austin?
it's out of Austin. She may have information on it, though. I'll see if I can get something from her.
Or our state representative.
Yeah,
Okay. So we'll leave you on that one.
okay.
Number 10, reactivate 391 commission. Last time we met, we put a TBD, to be determined. I have mixed emotions on this because I've gotten legal counsel in the past that has said that really doesn't do much for us with what we're trying to do. And then I've had citizens that tell me, well, it does a whole lot for us. I do have a close association with Waller County and Judge Duhon in that area. And he's adamant about their 391 commission. But I have other county judges that I've talked with and they go, well, we've seen no real benefit in the 391. I'm open for comments, including from our counselor.
I'll start if I can.
Sure.
You have counsel to the Commissioners Association that has indicated that the 391 is created to include local cities and counties is invalid, and that the only designation of areas that the governor has made that are appropriate is based upon the COG or the COG level, and so that would be the BBCOG would be the appropriate entity. I don't know that I'd necessarily go that far, but he knows, certainly, Mr. Allison knows a lot more about it than I. The point that I have continued to make to you all is that if you thought it was appropriate, there's no requirement that you include members of the public. It's got to be at least 2/3 members of governmental entities, which means you can do 3/3 members of governmental entities. I think the problem where it got bogged down before is you had members of the public who thought that being on that thing meant that they had become some arm of the county where they could potentially have some leverage over TxDOT or maybe, high-speed rail or whomever it may be.
Right.
That the purpose of the 391, the statute indicates that what it's supposed to be is a coordination of governmental entities so that you're pulling in the same direction and you potentially have a seat at the table for projects that may impact both jurisdictions. That, to me, makes perfect sense. If you have high-speed rail that's going to affect some city, let's say Plantersville, which I think it is, and Plantersville and Grimes County wanted to go together and pull in the same direction and have a seat at the table and have one voice, you'd have an entity to do that. But, of course, you still have the entity of Commissioners Court and the entity of City Council of Plantersville. So do you need an additional entity? I can tell you that there was an attempt 10 years ago or so by the city of Navasota, or I guess it was multiple cities, they have meetings that we were having, as I recall, at the city of Navasota, and bring in governmental entities, and they lasted for a year or so, and then there weren't a lot of people showing up. And so it seems to me you may find the same fate of the 391 if you say, hey, let's do it for this project that may show up. I mean, other than the ones we know about, but let's say, let's keep this thing alive for projects that may show up. You may have people who originally agreed to be involved who just don't show up because there's nothing going on, there's nothing to do. There's no table to have a seat at. So if you thought there was something that coordinating with another governmental entity may benefit you all in having a seat at the table, as it were, and maybe a better seat than what you have in your own position, I could see pursuing it. But again, I think the problems arose previously when there was a real attempt to involve members of the public, which I certainly get. But when you start doing that, you have people vying for that spot, thinking that now they are representative of one or more governmental entities, or this entity which represents governmental entities. And if those folks are striking out on that basis, or saying, let me flex my muscle, then it becomes something totally different than what it was intended to be.
I can attest to that. It became quite contentious.
And then you had, the governmental bodies did not want to be part of it after that. So we had a lack of participation from cities and county that wanted to be part of it.
Yeah, Todd Mission wanted it in, and then when they found out that the entity, the 391 may have been created to fight against 249, they realized they wanted 249 or high-speed rail, and so they didn't want to be involved anymore. And that's the thing, is you'd have to make sure the entity with whom you're coordinating is on the same page for the various projects that happen. And maybe that happens most of the time. But again, you, in theory, may already have a seat at the table being a commissioner's court.
Right.
Do you need another seat that's because you and another entity coordinated? I don't know that you do.
Well, the two that you mentioned on, TxDOT, I feel like we have a really good seat at the table with them right now. The relationship has been good. They're willing to talk to us. On the high-speed rail, we don't want a seat at that table because we propose there's no table.
The table's really fast.
Well, I guess my hesitation of taking it off the list or leaving it on the list, it kind of swings both ways, but I don't want to leave it on the list and then we not do anything with it, and then citizens go to the website and go, oh, okay, they still have reactivate the 391, so that's a active working thing, when really it's not. So I don't want to deceive anybody by having it on the list, but I don't know what the but's about, but if we're not going to do anything with it, maybe we take it off the list, because I don't want to give undue hope.
Because it requires additional, a municipality also, at least one municipality besides the county.
But this court changes all the time, so.
Sure.
Well, if I could make a suggestion, if you're going to have more items that are like this, a TBD or TBA, that you're not doing anything actively,
Right.
but you also recognize there may be an appropriate time for it, you might want to put a category of annual review or biannual
Yeah.
review
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah.
Because that could change in the future.
Because I agree with what he started with, because we are part of the COG. The COG is our regional planning commission
Right.
that does all of this. And I think that's probably one of the reasons that Waller County thinks theirs is successful, because they're not part, or at least I don't think they have a system.
Well, they're in Harris County's COG and they're overwhelmed every time they want to do something.
Yeah, so they feel like they don't have a voice there, so this vehicle as a 391 commission over there is their vehicle to be able to be heard in that
Good point.
situation. And I think ours is, as you said, we have developed a working relationship with TxDOT, and they work very closely with us, and we've been working with them for the last 5 years to get what we've got done on the 249 project, which is much better than what we started with,
I like the suggestion that you made, that it be an annual review, because although I hear what you're saying, sometimes our vision for the county don't align with BVCOG, because BVCOG supports the high-speed rail, whereas we as a county, we look at it a little bit different. So I think it just needs to be on an annual review.
So, Sheree, with your permission, we'll put a category requires annual review, and we'll drop number 10 to number 1 on that list. Does that sound reasonable, Court?
It's gonna go to the annual review list.
Right, we'll put that at the end of the strategic plan, but again, these items that are completed, maybe we have a category that's completed and we go ahead and move those to that, so that when we look at a list, we have an active list. When we have a closed list, everything on that list is closed, and when we have the required annual review, everything there is annual review. Is that reasonable?
Yes.
Construction of new county facilities, what's that all about? Oh, Commissioner Cox, I think we put you on that.
Yes. We're in progress, I believe that.
You even have an end date, don't you, around March 2021?
It's gonna, yeah, and it's right in line with what the term says. When,
Put complete 3 of 2021.
I thought it was supposed to be complete by December 31st.
No, they had 30 days for permits and all in the beginning, 12 months to build, and then 1 month to checklist, so that's 14 months, so,
Okay.
all right? But I like your attitude. And with good weather, we might be there.
2, there may be some renovation of other buildings, so that, I mean, I would just leave it at 1 to 2 years.
Okay. Number 11 is, number 12 is complete, so you can move that to the complete list. 13 is complete.
Yeah, 12, I guess we're still on that one. Continuous review, more EMS.
It is continuous review, but I want to add that due to the efforts that we have been doing, we now have a 4th ambulance, which is a peaker truck and also a transport truck for Grimes County.
So we have 5 vehicles or 4?
We have 4. We had
Okay,
3.
Right,
Now we have 4.
right.
But not only that, we've worked out mutual agreements with Montgomery County for the south end of the county,
Oh, okay.
where we were having to leave out of the county. The ambulance service was having to leave out of the county, go over into another county and come back in. We now have an agreement, CHI has agreement with them to dispatch from that area if the ambulance is a closer call to that ambulance. We are still sitting at the table. In fact, we have a meeting next week
Next week, yeah.
for a review, the Tuesday of next week.
Do we
So
need an agenda for that? Because I've been
they
invited to
have an
that.
agenda, but
No,
we may need one, yes.
Is any,
Yes,
you're going? Sheree, would you burn an agenda for that CHI St. Joe's meeting? Please,
So, for when?
Tuesday.
Tuesday morning, 9 o'clock, whatever.
Yes,
So
Tuesday
we have
from
time, we
9
just need to,
at 9 a.m. And it'll be at St. Joseph's, CHI St. Joseph, Navasota.
and it's on my calendar, so names and places and all.
Annual review.
All right, so number 12, do you want to put it on the completed list? Do you want to put it on the
I think
requires
it's-
annual review?
It requires an annual review.
Okay, number 12 goes to annual review list. Number 13, retrieve tax dollars from oil drilling for roads. I mean, that's ongoing, but
We're gonna get another bite at the apple, thanks to the legislature. They have renewed the search program. They'll be coming out with information later this year, but we'll get another crack at it.
So, and we'll get, because we already have a CTERS, the one that we already designated will be sufficient, we won't need to designate a new one?
That, I'm not sure about.
Because we
I haven't seen
designated
the
like,
rules yet.
yeah, it was, I don't know, it was a couple of acres or whatever it was that we designated. If you recall that, we had to designate an area as a CTERS zone
No.
in order to get the dollars that were being held, that were available. Yeah,
The sea turtle zone?
CTERS,
I'm
CTERZ,
talking about something different.
it was the same deal.
County Energy Tax Reinvestment Zone.
Yeah, it's CT,
It's all
CTERS,
CTERS.
CTERZ.
So what are you saying, it's not a CTERS?
County,
I don't know anything about sea turtles.
originally they
I thought it was a
had,
cow pie discussion for a minute, you know?
The legislature said, we have a pot of money if you will create a CTERS. And we had to create the CTERS, and it was around, in all sincerity, I believe it was 10 acres, 20 acres, 30 acres in the north end. It involved a couple of property owners. And you had to designate that any increase, any incremental increase in tax dollars over their current ad valorem would be used to repair the roads only in that area. But in exchange for doing that, you could get part of the money that was sitting out there.
Okay.
You had to create this entity, I don't remember what it's called, a commission or a committee, maybe it was just called a committee, of people who would meet every year to decide how to spend the dollars that were the additional incremental tax dollars. Well, they met the first year and they were told, guess what, we've made less money in ad valorems this very first year. So effectively there was a drilling of a well, there was a spike to $1 million in production, and then it immediately fell off. And so there was no increase in ad valorem dollars for that committee to decide how to use. Mike Harris and a couple other people were on that committee, and they met and were told by the appraisal district folks, you don't have any dollars to worry about. And so the meeting was over, and I don't know if there's been a meeting since then. And so my question was to Harry was, if the additional dollars are going to be out there, does the CTERS that we have out there qualify us, or do we need to create a new one, or does he know? He doesn't know. I don't know. So we'll see.
They have not issued the rules yet.
All right. Hopefully, no sea turtles will be killed in the making of this.
Is that the same?
I'm not at all sure about that. It wouldn't surprise me.
But if you receive money as a county before, which you're making application for right now, right? And
As soon
before,
as they open up the application period, we will, but again, they adopted it this session. They have not issued the rules. Until they issue the rules, we can't submit an application, but we are one of the counties that is qualified.
and last time we did get funding.
We did, and those dollars that you could get, you could spend anywhere in the county
Okay.
for the improvement of roads in disrepair. But you had to create the zone, and
Okay.
any additional ad valorem increase had to be spent in that zone. Well,
Well-
there was no increase, so there's been no additional dollars spent there.
Was it that we had to spend it in that same area?
Only the
Only
dollars that were
dollars
created in
from
that
the
zone.
seat.
The dollars that came from the state could be spent anywhere. But the trick to get those dollars was you had to create the zone.
Okay.
I'm gonna read from our original plan what this, on number 13, what the specific recommendations for the future action. With the Road and Bridge Department Administrator already seeking steps to seek compensation and negotiate fair remuneration for damages, remunerate,
You said it right.
getting more money for damages. Grimes County is already off to a great start on this issue. It is recommended that this issue remain a conscious, strategic focus for the Road and Bridge Department over time. So it sounds like an annual review item. I mean, we've marked it off, but
Well, it can be, if I could add, Harry's office has done a great job at making sure that we're getting bonds on the front end from these folks.
Yes.
And that's really the solution, is have the permit process, even though sometimes we're dealing with overweight trucks and there's a difficulty in getting that permitted. And Commissioner Dobianski has also done the same thing, chasing those guys down, telling them that, hey, we're coming after you if you destroy our roads. We've done really well in getting dollars back, and those don't involve tax dollars. So the times that you get tax dollars, this little window of that Harry's talking about, those will be few and far between. What really needs to happen is to be proactive, to require the permits or require the bonds or both, and chase down folks that are damaging our roads. And I think that's happening on an ongoing basis. Now, you can list that as a strategic item, but I think it's as necessary as any job duty that any of us has every day we show up for work. And I don't think that's going on the list for strategic planning.
no.
Yeah, this is citizen generated, so
Right.
it's part of what was on there already. So.
Yeah, and I think the permit that we issue gives us heads up on where they're going.
The
It
road
says
use
complete.
permits have been very effective.
Yes.
And we have collected much more money through that venue than under the state program specifically aimed at the oilfield road.
Yeah.
So-
And we're also utilizing this extra constable to enforce the roads that they travel on, because we've had issues with that. I've been accused of harassing some of the companies for being on the wrong roads, and I told them, I said, I'm gonna harass you if you tearing our roads up and where you're not supposed to be. And that's just the way it is.
And also, production is down. I didn't look at the price of oil today, but $60 a barrel. Production is down. There are not a whole lot of
Not a lot of
speculators
activity.
chasing
Yeah.
something in Grimes County. When that goes up, you may see folks back in here fracking, doing all
Yeah.
they can, and this may become an issue. But as of right now, it seems to me Mr. Walker's office has a good handle on it.
So are we satisfied that number 13's done, completed? So can we move that to the completed list, knowing that Harry Walker is gonna continue doing what he's doing?
It's just an ongoing effort.
Yeah, okay. But again, I'm not trying to cover over anything, but I am anxious to reflect on our strategic plan when citizens go and look. We as a court say that's completed. I mean, we might still be working and continuing, but that initial initiative has been completed.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment.
Okay. And Commissioners, you all agree with that?
Yes.
I still want to know where the Sea Turtle Reserve is.
What are you doing later here?
Just look for trails in the sand.
Let's go out. In the six-pack, we'll
No.
see it.
Number 14, lower property taxes for those over 65. Well, they're not going up for those over 65, and then the legislature has put a limit on what we can do with valuations, so I would say that that's complete.
When you say valuations.
Mhm. Well, the valuations of your home can still go up,
Right.
but it can't go up 10 and 20 and 30%. The most it's gonna be able to go up, or they can tax you on, is 3.5%, unless we hold an election and the citizens wanna pay more, which I think is kinda unlikely.
But it can go up every year, which it has.
Yes, that's where I was going with that. That's because of the appraised value, the increase in the appraised value.
You know, now that I'm an old person, I'm all for eliminating tax to the elderly on school tax. That alone can drive you out of your home.
Yeah.
It's the highest tax that we pay. And living in B-Dice, my money is not coming to Grimes County, it's going to Madison.
We'd actually like you to do something about that.
You're getting there.
Okay.
We actually, there are exemptions you can get for over 65, which from the county, it freezes our tax rate, doesn't it, for them?
I don't think they pay an additional dollar after the free. But that's not really consistent with what the plan is here. I think to the degree that it's ever gonna happen, maybe you've completed it, but I don't think you're gonna be reducing taxes for anybody.
I wouldn't think so.
Well, that's what the plan talked about, was the,
Yeah, I think that was somebody's request. Somebody, you
Yeah.
could write anything you wanted to on it.
Well,
but I was just making note that you can do the exemption,
Right.
but your taxes based on the appraised value, you may see that change. I'm just putting that out there, which is what he's talking about.
Right, but to lower the property taxes of those over 65, lowering is not gonna happen, in all likelihood. I mean, you guys could decide to take in less money.
the specific recommendations for future action, Grimes County should also provide links to programs offering tax relief to older residents that may already be in place. One such example is the Texas homestead exemption listed above. In general, a resource section for older residents would help senior citizens navigate government programs designed for them. The idea can tie directly into the creation of a more comprehensive and accessible county directory of services mentioned later in this report. And that goes on along with the updated. So I you know, again, that's one of those things that's, well, I don't know what it is.
Well, you made a good point in the beginning that now the state itself has property tax reform, and we will get a chance to see this coming year.
I prefer to put it on the complete list, not that it can't be reviewed at any time, but, I mean, we've done what we can to this point.
You have a hand.
Consent, yes, sir.
How are the other counties doing this? The major counties like the Harris County, Houston?
Well, they're all under the same 3.5 tax cap because that was determined by the state legislature this last time around. We weren't affected in the 2020 budget process, but we're all affected in the 2021 budget process.
Okay, but does Harris County currently give any reduction in property taxes for the senior citizens?
Yes, because that's state law. Well, it's on their school taxes, they can't be increased, is that, am I correct in that?
Frozen.
They're frozen. So whatever you're paying on school taxes at age 65, that number's frozen.
Okay.
No, no, it is not.
It still
State,
goes up.
state and county, I believe is frozen.
The school tax.
Mr. Cameron.
The school taxes are not, and that's part of the.
That's correct.
Part of the problem.
Yeah.
I think it depends on the school district, because I believe Iowa was frozen.
They are frozen.
I believe the Iowa district was.
You trying to get me to move up there?
Well, I'm assigned to it, so I'll do some homework.
Okay, great. I think that's a good idea. I'd like to ask that question too, because I noticed it on my list. Johnny has a hand.
Yes, sir.
There's also a printed senior resource guide that comes out every year from the Eagle that's really pretty inclusive, including Grimes County.
Cover all of this.
On all the senior resources that are in this area.
It's very good.
It's very good.
Is there a chance that the Eagle and the Examiner could hook up, or are they?
We get lots of copies. I get lots of copies of the thing.
Okay.
So you have it at the chamber, you can pick up a senior resource guide.
Yes.
Okay.
I think short of having an agency strictly for the elderly in Grimes County, or an office, or somebody that can go around and work with the elderly is probably a better solution than just having that guide, because some of them can't get out, and others, the idea of traveling from where they live out in the country, obviously, to a center to pick something up like that, they don't have a clue.
I think we have a program that's offered through RSVP, where they have volunteers for retired. It's a retired and senior volunteer program, and they help with those type of things throughout the county, whether it's free access to accident medical coverage, volunteer liability, auto.
That's for like people who volunteer, because I was a member of that when I drove for the Grimes Health Resource Center. So they did provide insurance and things like that for the volunteers.
But resources, 55 and plus, I just wondered, was that a program for that? Do you know, Ms. Connie?
But, well, organizations like Grimes Health Resource Center, you join RSVP to become part of that group, and of course, then they administer services to seniors, the Resource Center.
The Grimes County Resource Center,
It's kind of disjointed.
yes.
Okay, well, as I said, I'll do a review and see what I can make available for information on that, number 14. Number 15 was marked complete last time, so if you'll move that to the complete list. Number 16, established priority system for road repair, paving, Commissioner Dobianski. The notation that I had was continuous review, but do we have, and with Mr. Walker, do we have a process for that?
We have
I know you have the list.
criteria list, and we do, try to follow that to the extent we can, and we are doing an annual review as part of the budgeting process. And I think that's probably as it should be.
Somewhere marking complete.
Yeah, 15 we did.
Can I ask, Gary, at the end of the year before the next paving season, you're picking out X number of roads to be paved, though, right?
Yes. Yeah, and again, that's done in conjunction with the budget, because listing the roads without having money to pave them doesn't really good.
Right. But that's a priority system, yeah, you've done it.
Well, I mean, we have a published sheet of criteria that deals with population density and length of the road, and zip-through road, all those, a lot of different factors on there.
So if it's about establishing the priority system, it sounds like it's done.
The system's been done.
Yeah,
And
okay.
the annual review is occurring.
So if you will move number 16 to the completed list.
See what I'm saying?
And I think that's important. Once we get a process and it works, then, you know, we're done with that off the strategic plan. It might be ongoing. Number 17, better connection between high schools and technical schools, BB Cog and Blinn. It was Commissioner Mallett and Commissioner Walker. It's a continuous review, but Johnny, you can add, I think, on that with some of the things that's happened with NISD and some of those. Would you care to share?
West Anderson School District. So they're still offering dual credit programs, and they're increasing their vocational offerings at NISD with the help of Blinn. There's a meeting scheduled tomorrow to continue that effort. And they're looking to expand Blinn's involvement with the Anderson High School as well. Commissioner Dobianski and I held that with Superintendent Bean and with David Gager from Blinn, and that's still moving forward.
Yes.
So I think that there's a very good relationship between these school districts and Blinn College, and that based on the amount of investment that the school district's making in the vocational program, I think it's coming to fruition. Tomorrow's meeting, so we have a meeting tomorrow. Then next month they're planning a gathering of the major employers to find out, again, touch base with them about what their needs are, what they forecast their needs will be for what kind of training they need to offer in the school districts. So that's still an ongoing effort too, but it's happening.
Okay.
I'd like to say,
Anderson is looking into putting in a welding program, certified welding program at the junior and senior level, and the possibility of a CNA program for nursing. And when we met with Blinn, were you at that meeting we had in Navasota recently? Yeah, with Blinn College. We talked about possibly Anderson. That program particularly costs quite a bit because they have to have all the medical beds and all the testing equipment and all. They were talking about Anderson possibly sending some students over to Navasota to see if they had an interest in the program, and then they could put it in over here. So we've been working with them and trying to get that moving to make that happen.
I'd like to say Commissioner Cox and I sit on as liaisons with the Navasota Grimes County Workforce Advisory Board, which is what the entity that Johnny's talking about. And like you said, we have a meeting tomorrow because Blinn has a vision of being more involved in the community. And we also, we were excited when we saw, we offered as a group to collaborate with the NISD, but NISD also has their other programs that they're working on. And that's when we begin to reach out to all of the schools within Grimes County to see if they have an interest in the workforce being part of that advisory board vision. So thank you, Commissioner Dobianski, for reaching out to the schools outside of Navasota. So we are working with schools throughout the county.
So is number 17 on the to-do list, on the annual review list, or the completed list?
I think it's going to be probably an annual review or continuous review.
Okay.
It's a work in progress.
Number 17 goes to annual review.
Because you have continuously changing needs for different types of employees. Like right now, the technical jobs are paying a lot of those are paying six figures. These guys that get, technical degrees in mechanics, welding and so forth, they're making more, way more money than the college graduates are.
Secret. Oh, yeah.
Okay, number 18, I have that as complete. Commissioner Walker, that's build stronger communications across all county services. Notations were HR, lunch and learns, open enrollment, social security events, 29th something, I don't know what that was. Fire safety, 29th fire safety.
You did a fire safety workshop.
Okay. Are you satisfied that's complete?
Yes, sir.
Number 18 goes to the complete list. We need to oil those souls, Mr. Peeler.
Yes, sir.
Number 19, countywide directory of resources. Let me refresh my memory as to what that was. That was a webpage for the county, Grimes County Directory of Resources on the county website. Should be created, and I believe we did that, did we not, Cherie? And they were to provide some examples of good directories. The following list included a number of directories, and we had some that we could review and check. And I know that Vanessa helped on some of that, but you did the most part. I would suggest that number 19 is complete. However, we'd always pay attention to finding ways to improve, but it's not something we're focused on and actively doing. Is that fair, commissioners?
Mm-hmm.
19 goes to complete. Number 20, subdivision codes. That one's completed last time around. 21, hire a county.
Are there a few that we might need to kind of amend it a little bit? Because
We're working on an update right now, partly due to the legislature and partly just for some changes in our approach.
Do you want to put that to the annual review?
Probably so, if it's going to keep changing on us a little bit here and there.
Okay. So number 20 will go to annual review, although from initially what the strategic plan requested, I think the court and Mr. Walker have accomplished that.
Yeah, I'm not sure the members of the public and or even members of the county who attended the check number 1 or
Right.
vote by your remote were aware exactly what's available, what the authority the county has is, and what the county has been doing. But I can tell you things are vastly improved over when I started. And as I've mentioned several times, it used to be that the county clerk was expected to be the guy shepherding the plat around to various places, and the county clerk should just be the recorder of the plat. And now, as we've had, I think Mr. Lilly may have been the third subdivision coordinator. Yeah, and so having somebody in that position, and of course, it was a learn-on-the-job kind of position, but now having Mr. Walker in that position to continue what has been established, having somebody who's at the wheel who understands the practical effect of the changes that are being made is a vast improvement over what existed before. And so we don't have the ability to zone, so if somebody wrote down zoning, we can't, so that's impossible. All we have are sub-regs. Now, there's discussion down here further about building code or fire code, and we can talk about that when we get there, but as far as this item is concerned, all we have are subdivision regulations, and under Mr. Walker's administration, it seems to me things are running well. You want to fight?
No, I just want to stretch my leg. So, in summary of what you just said, I hear you saying it's complete. Not that it doesn't require review in the future, but our initial goal has been met.
The short answer is yes. What you want to do is oversee development in the county such that it is not something that folks are going to have water, wastewater, access, road usage. Those things aren't deficient, and I think you're doing a great job of that. And one of the primary ways to do that is to require a bond on the front end. Sometimes that wasn't being done, or the bond was being lost, or nobody knew who had the bond. All those things happened or were happening when I started, and I'm not taking credit for the changes, but I'm telling you that where we are now is a different world than where we used to be. And There
If I
are
recall, you've been there 15 years.
yeah, too long, some would say. There are people, now keep in mind, there are people who will divide their property who will not come and get a plat file. If we discover that, they could be sanctioned both civilly and criminally. And the hope is not to be ugly to folks, not to make everybody a developer and have to spend the money for a plat, but so that the county's aware of what's going on and with a view from, several thousand feet up can say, hey, in the future, when this gets sold, you're gonna have a problem where this road is degraded, and these owners in the future are gonna come to the commissioner's court and say, as you all have heard, oftentimes out of the north end, but other places as well, I can't get a school bus, I can't get an ambulance, I can't get a fire truck, I can't get my oxygen, I can't get to the mail, or the mail truck can't. All these issues, and those are real, and it's real hard. It's impossible for you all to say. It's easy for me to say, but I don't typically try. I don't like to say it. The owner has some responsibility when they choose to pick a place or when they choose to live somewhere.
Right.
But that's not helpful when they need an ambulance or a fire truck. So pointing the finger is not going to put the fire out. So all to say, we have come a long way, and to have Mr. Walker take on the responsibility or be forced to have the responsibility. But one of the first things that he does when it becomes something entirely on his shoulders as opposed to through the employee that he had before, to try to rewrite or revise these rules, especially now I guess that we have some change from the legislative level, is admirable. And so I think it's being done. He's going to be the one that chooses, and maybe he chooses at your direction, how often he reviews those. But once they're in place, I don't think you do an annual review. I've suggested to Harry on many occasions, he and I and whomever else may have our eyes on this, every time we see a failure or a deficiency or something that could be done better, we make a note, and then every couple of years or so, we may want to make a change. But it's not something you want to change every year. These things need to be in place so developers know the rules and have a level of expectation.
I recommend we go with Mr. Foltz's first short answer, and that was yes, we're complete.
Yes.
Should I strike
Sounds good.
zoning from it?
You can leave it on there because, well,
Yeah.
go ahead, because we don't do zoning, but that was language that was captured from the plan.
Yeah.
Number 21, hire a county animal control officer. That's something we might review annually.
Well,
It's
Well,
not,
we have a livestock officer.
right,
we have the livestock officer, but as far as a officer to pick up dogs and cats, the state law requires that once from what we've seen working with the animal shelter thing, and we can't, as the Grimes County Animal Rescue, cannot have an animal rescue officer. That has, animal control officer, because that has to be under the sheriff's department. We have no authority to go in and seize an animal or whatever. It has to be done through the sheriff's department. And we will work with them once we get the animal shelter in place. But I think the state law, from what we have seen, once the population reaches 50,000 in the county, we have to have it, so it'll have to be put in at that point. And I've had people ask me about that, are y'all gonna have an animal control officer when you get to the rescue? And the answer is no, because we don't have the authority to do that. It has to be through the sheriff's department. And we want to make that very clear, that this shelter will be a drop-off shelter only.
And that should
Court,
be-
would y'all recommend that we assign that to Commissioner Dobianski?
Seems like that's in his wheelhouse.
Okay, it's 4-1.
Be glad to take it. Be glad to take it.
Okay, so if you'll add Commissioner Dobianski's name to 21. 22 and 23 are complete last time around. 24, four-way traffic light, Highway 90 and 1696. Commissioner Mallett, is that a project that you'd like to be assigned?
Sure. Yeah, that would be more of a text dot
Right.
deal as far as, but yeah.
They've been trying to get that done up there for a long time.
Is that less than 30 days, more than a year, best part of a lifetime? How do you want to?
Yeah,
To
it,
put
would have
that
to be
traffic
driven
light,
by
that's a
text dot.
$500,000 project,
it would have to
isn't
be
it?
driven by
I
text dot.
guarantee it.
Sir?
I guarantee it, and a steak dinner.
Lights, it's probably I guess depending on the span, it's probably $100,000 to $200,000 project, I think.
I think that's what was told at the Civic Center.
200,000?
No, it was around 150, I think.
Okay.
But you can,
That would be within the city limits. Would the city be responsible for that since? the-
Well, it's a text
TxDOT.
dot.
Yeah.
It's still text dot.
It's strictly text dot.
Because it's a
You know,
state
they
highway
put-
and a farm to
They
market.
put the blinking light up there, but at the stop sign. But it's still very hazardous.
Yeah.
There's no question about that.
They drop
can
the
ask-
speed limit through there, but not many people slow down, so,
No.
No, it's in, there's a hill.
and then that hill.
You
Well-
know, they have put speed limit sign, things up there that indicate the speed that you're going.
Yeah.
That's fairly new. So maybe that'll help to bring it down, but I haven't seen it.
Okay, on number 24, we'll put Commissioner Mallett assigned to, and then we can put on the term to be determined. TBD? GLO, CBDG? No. TBD will work. Y'all gotta lighten up, it's not so late in the afternoon.
To be signed.
Number 25, pave new roads.
Harry,
Let me clarify that, is that pave more roads to make them like new, or was that, the recommendations for paving new roads are the same as those found in issue 16 for establishing a priority system for road repairs. Since such a priority system exists, it would be beneficial to citizens to see current road paving priorities featured on the county website so residents and businesses can see their tax dollars at work. Additionally, Grimes County should find a way to communicate the current cost of road paving to citizens.
well, I think what it's talking about, we're doing that. I mean, he set a goal, annually, he sets a goal. And I think that's what they wanted to see happen.
I mean, we can leave it on there if we want, because the term is gonna be, what do we figure, it's like 200 years before we got all 400 miles done?
Let's see, 650 miles at 10 to 20 miles a year.
We already got 250 done, don't you? You only have 400 miles left.
250.
Sir?
250.
Oh, yeah.
We're working on it.
Okay, so number 24 is, number 25 is, do we put, prior, we've only been putting those on the court, correct? Assigned to?
Annual review.
We can do annual review. Who'd like to have their name beside that one?
You.
Yeah, I can take that one too.
Okay, great. Commissioner Mallett on 25. 26, code enforcement of garbage dumping.
To be clear, we moved that to annual review. The paved
What,
road.
garbage dumping?
The paved road.
Oh, yes. Thank you for making that clarity. The code enforcement of garbage dumping, again, the district attorney said they would file charges on those where citations were submitted.
So we have actually put out some signs in several locations in my precinct, for sure, on the fines that can be given to people who are caught dumping. And we cleaned up 303 down south, in the south end of the county.
Well, we've also relocated garbage disposal areas, and the recommendations back when, Grimes County can use the county website to inform citizens of the location of county garbage collection sites and also to promote the use of these sites as an alternative to dumping. Second, Grimes County should also ensure that illegal dumping remains a priority for law enforcement. That's been done. The county may also consider publishing enforcement statistics, number of violations cited online. I don't know that we've done that, the violations online, but both of those requests, specific actions have been taken care of. I would suggest 26 is complete, although it's ongoing.
Well, I have been talking to Todd Mission about possibly a site.
A dump site down there, right.
Because we're gonna need one down there.
Right.
With the influx of building that's gonna go on shortly down that way. And, they're visiting with the city council down there.
And I don't know what Mary's, I don't know what Kat's answer is, but Mary, do you know the last time that we increased the dumping ticket price? I mean, it's been $1 a bag for,
Ever since I've been here, I've
Yes.
been here 14 years.
so we haven't been detrimental in trying to get citizens to use those stickers and to use those sites. I mean, we've kept the ticket price, the tag price at a very reasonable amount. So, as you folks can see, I'm interested in getting more to the close list than. Recommendation on 26, where do we put it?
Strike it. Oh,
Delete.
sorry.
Yeah.
Say that loud.
I put it on the complete list. I mean, it's still gonna be referable, but it's on the complete. Employment, job placement programs,
Sometimes you lay back, sometimes you strike.
I don't know. We post, we do word of mouth.
Working with Glenn about job fairs and everything else as well, right, in this area?
Do we post job openings on the website?
For the county, yes. It's under.
Okay, because in the near term, a simple solution to improving job placement within the county would be to post links on the county website to services like Work in Texas, Workforce Solutions, so they are easily accessible by citizens. Some citizens may not be aware of these job placement programs that are out there. In the longer term, Grimes County may consider the creation of local skills development and job placement program. This program could help relationships across and so on. Johnny, y'all already have some programs like that, do you not?
Yes, sir, we're able to offer adult training.
Yeah.
To get them trained up to take other jobs that are available in our county.
I'd promote the 27's complete. I mean, it's one of those ongoing things, but we have a process there. Is that agreed? Okay, 28. Health inspection of food services. Council.
State
Strike it.
does that.
State does that.
It's already done.
So should we have a category no can do in the county so people know? Or
It's up to you.
I don't want them to have 20 categories up there, but
We can't do zoning and we don't regulate food services.
I mean, it could go under complete, instead of where it says TBA, it could say state handle, state issue or whatever. But it could be, it's completed because we're not doing anything else with it.
put state authority and we'll do the zoning and we'll do the health inspection. Is it okay?
Yeah.
State's
Well, like
authority.
Brazos County has their own, I think Madison
Right.
County does theirs as well.
Okay.
But, I mean, the state does it, so it doesn't,
Thank you, Commissioner Walker, for volunteering for
they
that.
see us every year.
Yeah, that helps out a lot.
It does. Makes it easy on us.
Appreciate it.
What did I volunteer for?
All the rest of it.
Just messing with you.
Okay, thank you.
Page 2, number 29, keep parks and green space a priority in development plans with flood plans. Number 29. The specific recommendations for future action to ensure that parks and green space remain a part of Grimes County land use culture. The county should consider adding reasonable requirements for the preservation of green space, conservation easements, and parks as part of the local subdivision planning ordinances. This modification of the current rules would ensure that Grimes County can preserve some of its heritage by rural pastures and impressive forests well into the future, and ensuring that new subdivision residents have the opportunity to enjoy the experience of the country's natural habitat for relaxation, recreation, wildlife preservation, and quality of life. Like King Oaks, oh, Harry's gone. But Commissioner Mallett, King Oaks, they have park and recreation in theirs. I know these floodplain buyouts, all of those get turned into green space, which, when I say green space, they cannot be redeveloped or resold for development.
And there's really nothing we can do as far as requirement of green space in a development, but anything that was in the floodplain, you can't build within, so.
Right. So what
We
would,
can require that.
what would be the consensus of 29?
If I can add to what Commissioner Mallett said, you recall, we've had the discussion many times that the framers set the system up that you go to a city if you want to become a member of a corporation and you want to subscribe to the fact that they have the authority to regulate things like this. You go to the county to get away from regulations, and the regulations that we have, subdivision regulations, are for the safety and the welfare, for access, water, wastewater, those kind of things. They're not with regard to aesthetics or recreation. We don't have the authority to require green space.
So let's put it under the state's authority, not ours.
Yeah,
That'd be
there's
the third item
no
there.
authority for that.
Is that right, Sheree? Okay. I have number 30, 31, 32, and 33 complete.
Which ones? Number
31,
30?
30, 31, 32, and 33. We had those marked complete last time.
Okay.
Number 34, create rural emergency department. 34.
Can we back up 1 second?
We're gonna assign it to you, but go ahead.
Okay. I was listening at a conversation earlier about the branding of Anderson as a county seat, and they mentioned signage. And I told them that I thought there were some grant opportunities through TxDOT to for signage coming into the cities, such as the big signage for Navasota. You know, if you're branding Anderson as your county seat, maybe look into the big monuments that they have when you're coming into an area. And the other one was, they also had a signage, it was called city, things that are in a city, on a billboard of tourist attractions and stuff. They also provided funding for that grant opportunity. So maybe like your courthouse or your Fanthrop Inn, all of those things be on one billboard coming into the city.
Jenny, are you aware of anything like that?
Wayfinding signs.
Yes, it's like wayfinding, but it was called something else. But I looked it up prior to the meeting.
I'm not aware of grants for that.
It's called, oh, I had it wrote down. City pride signs and monuments on the TxDOT. So that might be something interesting to have, look into.
In all seriousness, could we assign that to you and put it under the annual review?
That's fine.
Commissioner Walker, annual review.
You can, but of course you run the risk potentially that if the county is making the effort to brand the city, you'll have other cities that will complain that you're not spending money to help brand them.
Well, we can
Counselor, you just no fun
distribute
at
the
all.
information
Just telling you,
You're right.
That's very
to let them know it's out there. TxDOT.
seen a
All
few
cities.
things.
No,
All cities is
yeah.
out there.
I haven't seen any signs saying, "Welcome to Grimes County." Just to be honest. with
They're
you.
old, they
Coming
probably
in-
fell down in the weeds by now.
Well, that's
There's
what
one
I'm
that fell
saying.
down from Madison
You know,
to Grimes.
You're talking about this kind of signage. What about coming into Grimes County?
Yeah.
Especially coming off of the new 249.
And
Those cars are
Tex,
gonna be coming in here.
That's a good point.
and
Yeah.
TxDOT may offer that, because if as you're entering or leaving Washington County, it says Washington County.
Yeah.
You know, they have that big monument.
And they have that on pretty much every road that.
Yeah, and it's
major
noticeable.
roads that go, coming out of there.
Those monuments are expensive,
Yeah.
very expensive.
Is that through a grant program that you know of, Ms. Connie?
Navasota got theirs kind of by accident, but it had to do with Keep Navasota Beautiful and Keep Texas Beautiful.
Well, we have a Keep
They-
Grimes
They
County.
actually won funding years ago.
We might can look into that through our Keep Grimes County Beautiful program.
Yeah.
But
And then seriously,
I'll look it
can
up
we put your
anyway.
name? Okay. So which number was that?
32.
32, Commissioner Walker.
But then isn't that gonna be close to number 40, which is branding of the county?
We haven't got there yet. It could
It's
be.
Kind of the same thing.
it might be a little different slogan on that one.
I'll be quiet.
Oh, ma'am.
Oh, come on.
That's why you're here.
Well, let's just go ahead and put Commissioner Walker's name on number 40 since they're gonna be combined. How's that?
And I also invited Johnny to be.
All right.
What's the term on that?
Shouldn't take long to see, about 1 to 2 years, say.
That'll get us started. 1 to 2 years on 32 and 40.
And did you say you want me to combine them?
Yes, please. Number 34, create rural emergency department, and the issue there was, and we to some degree have it, but the joint team comprised of Grimes County, the LEPC, and the Economic Development Planning Board should consider reaching out to private sector organizations to specialize in building rural EDs. Construction is generally a private sector decision based upon the expected profitability and sustained viability of the genuine need for EDs. However, this proactive approach may alert companies to unaddressed needs in Grimes County. This plan can demonstrate citizen support for the idea. Is the BDI's clinic, the clinic that we had go in up in the BDI's area, is that part of this?
Not that I know of. That was an
No,
initiative.
I mean, that's an independent individual. Okay. I'm not sure where
Didn't
we
we
go
kind
with
of
this.
do that in another way? Create rural emergency department.
Joe, if I remember correctly, they had to change legislation for rural things like the BDI's clinic for them to be able to operate.
It's not an emergency facility.
And it's
It's
privately
privately
owned.
funded, yeah.
Well, let me go
Is
back.
that what they're talking, is that the reference, emergency department as in
That's-
health?
Well, the category was emergency
It's saying
services,
that.
and the what is
Emergency
it?
room.
A rural emergency department is a remotely located emergency room without a full hospital attached. Rural EDs are intended to bring essential emergency care closer to dispersed populations for cases that cannot wait to get to the hospital. Prior to this innovation, entire hospitals or sufficient urgent care facilities are generally built when all that was really critically needed was the emergency room for serious medical cases. This creates an efficiency by building for the local needs and creating a pipeline where patients receive emergency care as needed and can then be transferred to a larger hospital where the emergent health issue subsides. Well, I would suggest we haven't done anything on that.
Attempt was made
I would-
in the north with a hospital complex out of Navasota and Huntsville. And at the time, they said the population wasn't large enough to support it,
Right.
for them to do that.
And-
There was a major concern for it.
And it wasn't a county entity, it was a private endeavor, so I don't know, you want it on your list unless you're gonna subsidize it, saying what, we'd like to see a Walmart in BDI's, well, that doesn't need to be on your list.
That's true.
Yeah.
I think what they wanted us to do, it says should consider reaching out to private sector organizations, which, as part of the ambassadors for the county as far as health, Grimes Health Resource Center, myself, and some other members of the community were working with the Episcopalian Health Foundation for grants, but they in turn started working a lot with BSI or BIS. And but the goal, those efforts are still being, because they want to invest in small rural communities as far as their needs. So I think it's an ongoing effort to just do what they say, consider reaching out. We have reached out to organizations such as the Health Foundation to possibly look at the needs, and maybe then through that way we can approach private sector.
Shall we just assign it to the chamber and give them 3 weeks?
There are other solutions that have come up since this was proposed.
Yeah.
You did add additional ambulances, we've added additional heliports
Right.
for the helicopters in the rural areas.
And we're also, we've had talks with PHI, is it PHI?
CHI.
The helicopter,
That's PHI.
PHI, and also Washington County
Right.
about air medic support for the county, since we're so rural and we're so long and so, it's such a time to travel. We have been talking with them, and we intend to bring that presentation to Commissioners Court for us all to hear about what's being done and how we may be able to help our citizens get to emergency facilities faster. You got
It's almost like we've, I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
One caution though, all these are, from a cost perspective for the citizens, we'll have to look into that as well. These are all good services, but again, they might bankrupt some families. That's
Sure.
something that we need to be looking at. The other thing is, I know Sam Houston University is opening a medical college up near Conroe. They might be interested in setting up satellite clinics
Well,
or
they're-
urgent cares, because they're pretty close here, so that's something.
Well, they are looking into working with the one that is out here, I know, on the loop in Navasota, Health Point, I think is what it's called.
Okay.
But I think it's gonna be interesting to hear the presentation that PHI and also Washington County wants to make to the Commissioners Court in terms of helping our citizens not be bankrupt by air services.
Is there a consensus that indirectly we've completed number 34? With the services being provided and heliports and things of that sort, increased ambulances?
I don't think it's complete. I think it's something that we still might need to
Put it
review.
in the annual review list, please.
Could I ask, well, it didn't matter.
You can ask.
The word is pursue, not create. That's.
Yes, it said pursue.
Well, the strategic plan, number 34, says create.
Right. I'm thinking either tinker with that. You're not gonna build it. You're not
No.
gonna do it.
So we'll pursue it. So we'll change that language, Sheree?
It said consider reaching out.
Okay. Number 36, building fire code enforcement.
Did you skip 35? Is that done?
That's done.
Pursue.
Is that all Kilburn?
Didn't we?
No, you did not.
I had it marked through in blue. A prudent approach to addressing this issue may be to promote and expand the Sunshine Center, expanding the scope of services and activities offered instead of constructing new facilities. This is especially true given the central location of the Sunshine Center within the county. An expanded fundraising campaign could be considered with promotion occurring through county media sources, i.e. the improved website. The Sunshine Center could partner with the county to ensure that new and expanded van service for the elderly and disabled, see issue 33, provides a regular transit to the Sunshine Center, or that the Sunshine Center could eventually be allocated one van designated for activities. Additionally, the Sunshine Center may consider expanding its volunteerism, seeking new activity coordinators of all ages from within the county and designing new programs around the skills and talents of these volunteers. Well, it's not just the Sunshine Center, but there's a group in Shiro. They're having a seniors luncheon. It's only a monthly, but I was able to attend this last month, and it was a part of its potluck, but they were having a food source, and they were providing food. And goodness, there was probably 25, 28 folks there. And I was one of the younger, better-looking ones. No, I meant one of the younger ones that was there. So, there were some 80s, and one lady, I believe, was 92 that was there. So
I've been to that also.
Have-
Part of this adult care program too was that, if I remember correctly, when we did the strategic plan, was at one time we had in Navasota an adult program for disabled adults, like my son, for instance. MHMR had a program there where we had classes like they have in Brenham and they have in Bryan. But because of the lack of space in the building that they had, they moved that program to Brenham. And I had talked to MHMR a number of times right after we did the strategic plan about possibly getting one here in the county. And they keep saying they don't have the money to do that. And they're looking at, back then they were saying they were looking at possibly outsourcing this to other, like homes or whatever. And we did have a group that came in a couple of years ago and talked to us that were interested in putting in an adult care home here. And I had talked with them about that, but they had never come back with any information to us. But that's something else that was included in this adult care program is for the disabled, not necessarily up in age, but because there are a lot of disabled young people in the county.
There are.
And some of those do not have transportation to go to Brenham or College Station or whatever. Now, we do have some of them that are riding the transportation service that we provide. I know there's one from Navasota that went to school with my son that does ride that in that program to get over there every day.
And the Healthcare Resource Center is the the people you should contact. I mean, we currently provide vans through them and the COG for outreach program if you're needing to go somewhere.
Yeah.
So I guess that's what you're speaking of.
Yes.
But it talked about a number of recommendations, such as a campaign, fundraising campaign. It also talked about volunteerism.
We have a comment out there. Good.
Go ahead, though.
So it talked about a lot of things under that list. So
Yes, sir.
Is there a possibility for some kind of tele-services to help them out in the interim?
what is it?
Tele-services?
We have a mental health, telehealth.
Yes.
Is what you're talking,
Yeah,
telehealth.
yeah. At least in the interim.
We have that offered at the hospital in Navasota, but it's only for counseling. I don't believe that they're doing it for medical just yet in our county.
Seems like under this item, they want to highlight the senior citizen centers and get more people involved, such as volunteerism, also helping them campaign as for fundraisers, an expansion of services, maybe rides to the senior citizen centers. So I don't know what you want to do with it, but
I remember too, Miss Barbara, when we were having those meetings with the public, that they were saying, some of them work and they have to take care of their parents or someone else in the family, and they can't keep someone to stay and take care of their family member. So it would be beneficial to them if our senior centers could offer an adult daycare where they drop them off in the morning and pick them up in the evening.
I wanted to add to that, if you don't mind, before it flees, okay? Grimes Health Resource Center has the ability, I don't know what it's called, Johnny, you were at the opening too.
Senior renewal program.
Senior renewal program, where they send a van to pick you up if you're capable of coming on your own as a senior citizen, and they have activities so many hours a day. So they have a program that can be utilized countywide. They will send somebody for you. So that is, thank you for the reminder.
Yeah, okay. On that note, I know there's an organization called Interfaith in the Woodlands. They do a very good job of taking care of the senior citizens. Like, they do all these services like, distributing foods, driving them to the hospitals, all these things. But, and even planting fresh, tomatoes and everything and giving to them, all that. And I'm pretty impressed with that thing. Maybe contacting them might help, find solutions to alleviate this little bit at least. So it's called the interfaith.
And I don't mean to discourage your comments, but you take a location like the Woodlands, their financial resources are significantly greater, and their population of volunteerism is significantly greater. So, I mean, conceptually, and I'm familiar with the organization that you're talking about, because they also help with job placement and writing resumes. They do a phenomenal work, but they also have a tremendous financial resource and volunteer base.
MHMR also has programs like the respite program that individuals can get, where they have somebody come in and take care of a person that you are responsible for taking care of for a certain number of hours a week or whatever also.
Then I'll make the recommendation that we take 35 off the complete list and put it on the annual review list. Is there a commissioner that would be willing to have their name slotted beside that, just to do some research and keep us up to date?
I don't mind.
Okay. Commissioner Walker on number 35.
It really also needs to say senior centers.
Mm-hmm.
Not
It's more
just
than
means
one.
There needs- Because what you're already saying is there are some in different locations.
Walker / Bettis, B-E-T.
Senior Center in Plantersville.
And they have a great facility. ADA entrance on the back. You have anything else to say, Marilyn?
No, sir.
And I think that would be a great task for our community wellness board to look into, because it does run under wellness. We'll get with the senior renewal program. I'm just pointing at you, Johnny, but I meant I
You're not
will
a
visit
senior,
with them. I will visit with them and see what else we can do.
Number 36, building fire code enforcement. Do we county have the right to have a fire marshal inspector? I don't.
I'm gonna try to
Right.
real fast if I can. There is authority, local government code, for economic development committee to be formed. There's authority for a subdivision, I don't know what it's called, something commission, it could be formed. And there is authority, because we're next to a county that meets the threshold for population, that being Montgomery County.
Yes.
You could implement a fire code and/or building code. One is for residential and one is for commercial. I can't ever remember which is which, but the issue has always been, and the reason the court has always decided not to do that is because of enforcement. And so you could enter an interlocal with a city or with a county, provide for that person that would do that. It would be the fire marshal or the building inspector. But the county has not been willing to commit those funds towards that to this point.
And we did talk about that when we moved Mr. Lilly to that position as the emergency
Management Services Coordinator. We talked about him possibly doing some fire marshal activities.
Well, he said also we had neighboring counties
Right.
that we called in to do enforcement.
Tell you what, I'll put my name by it with the understanding I'm gonna pass the buck to Mr. Lilly to get him to check into it. But you can put 0 to 12 months if we're staying in that timeline. Major improvements of existing county facilities. I believe we've done a whole lot of that over the last 4 or 5 years when you look at the maintenance dollars we've spent and upgrades and things of that sort. I would suggest we're complete, but that's something that's also continuing.
Annual review,
Yeah.
ongoing.
Okay.
Real quick, on number 11, when I was talking about.
Number 11.
When we were talking about construction of new county facilities, he said would be complete on March 20th, 2021. Then he said, leave it there for other buildings.
1 to 2 years.
This is other buildings down here, so can I just leave that complete for number 11 with that date and then forget about the other buildings? Because that pretty much that's down here. We're gonna do major improvements. But this
Yeah,
one,
that would be,
That makes sense?
that makes sense.
So you're saying we can scratch 37?
No, 11.
Or it's
No,
combined
just-
to 11?
no,
Scratch
just-
11.
no.
Well, no.
Leave it, because we originally said that 11 would be complete on this date, March 20th, 2021.
Right,
And then you could be back and said, but leave it open because we still are gonna work on the other buildings.
okay.
So let's say, leave the complete there, don't worry about leaving it open. We'll worry about other buildings down here on number 37, because these are the other buildings.
Yes.
Okay.
So is that under annual review too?
Um,
Or are we putting a timeline on that?
That's up to you guys.
I'd say annual review, because
Yeah.
there's gonna be ongoing projects that we're gonna need to,
Because it could move fast, and if we get money tight, it could move slow.
yes.
So we're moving
Ma'am?
in.
Did we assign that to anyone?
We haven't yet.
You had assignments, previously you had Cox and Mallett.
That was on number 11.
That'd be fine.
That's
Okay.
fine. We had it on 37 too, also.
Sharing the wealth. Are we good? Number 38, I had that complete, improved mental health services, and that's with what we've done over at the jail and the telehealth and. Are we in agreement on that? 39, widen FM 1774 from Todd Mission to Plantersville. That's really a state deal. And they're in the process of that, but they're not widening it all the way to 105. They're widening 1774 from Todd Mission to, help me, Harry, to 249. That's 4 lanes. Then it's gonna go to 3 lanes.
It's 4 lanes up to the county line, and then the 3 lanes.
From the county line to 1774.
Well, 249, and then remain 2 lanes.
2 lanes all the way up to Plantersville.
Yes.
I
Okay.
believe that they're going to be using that 1774 as a means of getting traffic off of 249 until they build the, onto 105. They're gonna build onto 105 headed towards Navasota,
Right, put a flyover.
but a flyover. But they don't have that flyover planned in the immediate future for,
Well, it's in the 2023, it's in the 2023 completion.
They haven't started to run any condemnation on this.
I thought they were done.
You talking about the?
No, they've only done condemnation headed towards Navasota. But I'm talking about that flyover now.
Yeah.
And the reason that 1774 that went to work on that was because they were going to funnel that traffic through there to get onto 105.
It's my understanding from TxDOT that they have all the land acquired for 249, all the way from Magnolia to 105.
Yes,
Okay,
but they don't. They don't have, they've condemned everything for that flyover getting off of 149 onto 105,
mhm,
headed towards Navasota.
right,
But they have not condemned land for a flyover or to increase the exit. Because what happens is, it's gonna come off of there,
right,
and then it's gonna function down into 105, which is gonna be that, all right.
right.
But they haven't done it on the other side yet. In other words, as far as I know, and I have not been asked to work on the condemnation on that. So,
When you say
And
the
here
other
is-
side, what do
You talking about the south side of 105?
He's talking about the south side of 105 getting on 249, right?
What are you saying?
so at the time, they were looking for a way to get that traffic off and headed up towards Plantersville off of 249. Now, I know that for a fact. Now, whether they've changed that since I was working on that project, I can't tell you.
All they have for to head back to the east on 105, they're just gonna tie in that traffic into 1748.
Right.
It won't be a direct connector now.
Oh, it is, so they've solved that, then,
Yes, sir.
but they haven't done any condemnation on that.
It's temporary.
Yeah, because boy, if it happens, yeah. Sorry for
Well,
interrupting.
no, it's all right. So 39 really is a state activity. I mean, we can monitor it, but that's state control.
Yeah.
Number 40, we've already assigned that to Commissioner Walker. That's branding of county slogan, tying it into the branding of Anderson on 32. Number 41, Citizen Trade School for Professions. Johnny, you want to speak on that, or can you?
Well, we would love to have Glenn open a trade school here. So far, they haven't been,
Chances is kind of slim, though.
yeah, it hasn't been happening so far. No other entity's been talking about opening a trade school that I'm aware of. You have great facilities if they could do that, but it's not a part of the discussion right now.
They have offered, and we didn't get a lot of participation, programs through Burnett Lynn, such as welding and electrical, but they wouldn't be here in the county. You'd have to leave and go to Blenn's main campus in Brenham, Hodie campus, but we are working diligently to try to get some of those here in Grimes County, a facility that can teach welding to adults, CNC operations. So it's still ongoing with the advisory committee, Navasota, Grimes County Advisory.
Yeah,
Workforce.
the training here is one thing, but opening a trade school, which is what this is.
No, there'd be a physical facility.
Well, we talked about when we moved over to the building with the adult probation, when Commissioner Hutsfield was here, we talked about taking those bays and maybe working with Glenn College to provide some equipment there to train. But it kind of just got at a standstill.
I mean, that's a really large undertaking
Yes.
to do something like that.
Let-
It's not saying it's not impossible, it's certainly on the list, but
Let's leave it on the strategic plan list. Let's leave it unassigned, knowing that we'll have to review it.
I
Sir?
do want to mention that the Lone Star campus is being built just on the other side of the county line in Montgomery County, in Magnolia.
Why can't you get them to cross the county line?
That's a good question.
Population.
And we're out of there. I think they all have areas, like Lone Star has an area that, and then Glenn College has an area. We've talked about,
Almost like school district.
yes.
All right. Number 42, Farmers Market.
I know during the spring and harvest time in Navasota, there is a farmer's market. I'm not aware of any throughout the county, but I am aware of that one.
Well, and I think Anderson, when they had the food bank here for a little bit, they were trying
Oh,
to
yeah.
pull something off there, but it
They did have one.
didn't catch any speed.
VDOT's had one, I believe, a little bit, didn't it?
Yes, they did.
So are we gonna do the whole list today?
Well, I'd like to go through it fairly quickly if we can keep moving here. How about whole list or 330, whatever comes first?
Okay.
Is that okay, Commissioners?
I know we only went so far last time, that's why I was asking.
Well, but on my list, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 that I think are completed.
Okay.
So I'd like to, if we can. All right, so farmers market, we can leave that on the list, or is it complete?
You had it marked complete.
Okay, complete. Oh, I did, didn't I? Better online security in general, that's done. Hire a grant writer, we allocate that throughout the county to the different departments, but we do not have a specific grant writer, which I think is a still a good idea.
I think
But-
it's a very good idea, and I'm sorry Miss Bettis just left because she talked about it.
Is that right?
That we have a local contractor now, that we can contract services with is Don Baleka.
Dawn Marie Beletka, we
Yeah.
used her in emergency in 18.
Because many times we have grants that open up and they close really fast, and
Yeah.
if we don't already have a template, or somebody that's in line that can apply for these funds, they go away really fast.
Put my name beside it and I'll bring it up as a budget item this year.
Well,
Would
and
cost
I
you-
don't know that you want somebody on staff, but it may be
No.
use
No,
a
it's
contractor, and you want
But-
somebody, but you want somebody that can tell you when
What's
there are
available.
grants available
That's right.
for your purposes.
That's
And
right.
so it goes both ways. It can't be, we just expect that person to do everything. We've gotta have some relationship, so maybe it's a liaison that you're talking about.
Right.
Does
And-
GrantWorks do that type of thing too? Kind
Yeah.
of keep an eye out for when,
They
There are
do,
certain
but only
grants out.
for
Certain, yeah, I
specific
talked to
grants.
them.
okay,
And that's the
You and I
problem.
both talked to them.
If you're talking broad brush,
yeah.
and they're very
They're-
narrow focused.
Yes, I did ask that question because we got a lot of grants thrown at us this year, but there was not anybody that was, I talked to GrantWorks, they would not touch some of the grants.
Let's change 44 to read. Investigate grant writer options.
Yes. Maybe find several.
And you can put my name beside it. And, again, I'll take a look at it by the end of this budget year.
Judge,
You
one
had a
thing you might
concern.
think about doing is
I do
contacting
have a concern, but I don't necessarily. know what to talk
the
about
English
today.
department at A&M or Sam Houston. When I worked at Texas Tech, we hired a senior from the English department to come over and write grants for us.
Sure enough, okay.
CASA does that out of, Brian. They use a lot of services out of Texas.
And you'd want somebody that has good writing skills, but going back to Commissioner Walker with the Dawn Marie Beletka, she knows some of the key words and catchwords and catchphrases to put in those grants that go, oh, that looks good. Yeah, so she speaks their language, but so we'll investigate our opportunities there. Number 45, community homeless / transition living shelter. It's kind of beyond our reach. I don't know, is anybody HUD connected?
HUD?
Housing urban development?
We're all connected.
Well, yeah, but
Well, I mean, I'm not real familiar with a whole lot of homeless population. I know in the past when we've dealt with people that have a difficult time finding a place to live, that we refer them commonly up to Bryan, Twin City Mission, and that's kind of the go-to,
okay.
but at least in my former profession.
And while we're not, well, I know that Ms. Williams is looking into a transition shelter, living shelter for victims of crime. You know, I don't know about the community
A safe house
homelessness.
type of thing? A safe house type of thing?
Yes, so she is doing some research into that and has talked to Congressman Brady.
Commissioner Cox, can we put your name beside number 45?
That'd be great.
Can we have a timeline, say 1 to 2 years?
Yes,
Sure.
I mean, I'll work on it as diligent as I
Sure.
can to
Sure.
meet the timeline.
Did you get that,
set.
Sheree? Number 46, increase wild hog management efforts. I wanted to ask Alan if he could do some research on getting feral hogs trained to eat McCartney Rose, and then we could have a place for them in the county.
But I think the Ag
Yeah.
Extension's
Yeah.
doing a good job of that.
Sir?
So I think the Ag Extension's got a good resource. and
Who's
doing
most
a good
closely
job.
connected to the Ag Extension on the court? Commissioner Dobianski, who's? You? They're in your building.
Well, I mean, they're out there in close proximity to Commissioner Walker.
I'm glad to put your name again, okay? Commissioner Cox?
Put him with the wild hogs.
Do you want to put a timeline on there?
I don't necessarily know. You can put any timeline you want on there.
Because we can change it.
If we can accomplish that
It's
done
gonna be
some.
continuous, so it's not a something.
Yeah.
you just
You got the
right
blessing of
away.
every rancher.
You don't
Just
fix
put
it
30
right
to 40 years, should we?
Annual review.
Annual review.
All right, we're getting giddy here.
There
Number-
was on the feral hog, there was some grant money a few years ago from, and Washington County used it, and I don't know that it's there anymore, is, for having bounties on the hogs.
Yeah.
And then but they ran out of that money pretty
I mean,
quick.
it's quick.
Yeah.
Number 47 is review county waterways for recreational use.
There was a recommendation, I remember that from the meeting here in Anderson. Somebody talked for a good while about putting a park on the Navasota River, wanting to develop something recreational along the river there.
Do we,
Nothing more, put a boat launch in.
Yeah.
do we even have any county waterways or waterways that are designated as county?
No,
No.
that's really not. I think we could throw that under
Privately
Texas and be done
owned,
with it.
privately
State
owned.
of Texas.
They're all belong to the
Gibbons
same-
Creek is, yeah, Reservoirs Company, privately owned.
Okay, so we'll put that one under the Texas responsibility.
You can send the governor a letter and let him know.
Number 48, lower speed limits on Highway 90 and FM 1669. We need to move that to
You have to take the dot down.
1696. That has to go to the state, but we ought to have some, Commissioner Mallett, since you're talking traffic light, put your name there? Well, you need a couple of weeks on that?
At least.
Okay. Let's put a year on there to get them started on the conversations. 49 is complete. Number 50, decentralized medical clinics ensure medical care across the whole county. Is that, are we allowed to put that back up with the one where we talked about the helipads and fourth unit?
What do we do with it?
That's what I was asking.
Well, we do have the clinic on the north end of the county now, which,
We do. That's a private entity.
Like you say, put it with the other one. I don't see the number it is.
Number 34.
34, rural emergency department, so we're gonna combine 34 and 50. Did we put a name by 34?
No, we just put pursue, we changed it to pursue rural
Right.
emergency department.
Well, for now, we can just leave it on the list.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something that I'm sure the chamber, if they get wind,
Would lead us, yeah.
that
Number 51, better involvement of boys and girls clubs.
We worked on that.
I wish we had a boys and girls club here.
The city of Navasota is working on that currently, but we reviewed it under the group, I cannot think of the name of the group, but it's a countywide group under medical wellness. And it was with Dr. Heather Clark, where she does the evaluation every year or the every 2-year assessment. It was such a large project for a county to do a boys and girls club, because it had to be somewhere, you'd have to bus the children, you know, to get to a centrally located, not saying it's impossible, but we thought it was very, it would be overwhelming for us to tackle.
Yeah. Well, let's just leave it on the list, unassigned, undated. Sir?
So I don't know a whole lot about that, but it did seem like there was effort in Navasota to create such a thing, and there was a gentleman at A&M, I can't recall his name, but it was very ambitious.
Well, they just announced not long ago, what's the young lady name? Miss Gamble is working with the Boys and Girls Club of Bryan College Station, and they have a goal set, a financial goal, in order to make it a reality in the city. So So I guess you could leave it on there. It says better involvement, so maybe once
We can
they
get
got it,
involved
we
with
can.
Okay. 52, I had it as complete.
Tyra
That was
did.
shared with Navasota. Because we have the community center established as the emergency operations center.
Okay. You want to make it complete, you said?
Well,
Yeah.
that's what I had from last time, yes, ma'am.
Yes, okay.
Number 53, Navasota River Park.
Where is that?
I don't know.
That what you-
Again, that was a project.
Just an idea.
that, individual
That
brought
would
up.
be more on the city of Navasota, I would think.
Well, I don't-
The-
Well, they were talking about, not Navasota City, they were talking about Navasota River, a park, which is similar to the waterways and recreational use in 47.
And this guy that brought this up was talking about a particular road, I don't remember, it's somewhere that crosses a river around Iola, between Iola and call it,
I do
Bryan.
remember that.
But he said something about trying to put a park.
We could probably combine 53 and 47, just make it one.
Yeah, I would say so.
Is that, we agreed with that?
Mhm.
And unassigned at this time?
Well, you had state of Texas by the other one.
Did we? We did, didn't we? Okay. 54, centralized county register, I had that marked complete. 55, decentralized some county positions. I don't remember what the dialogue was there, but I think it was like getting the county, or no, the tax assessor collector to go up and sell license plates with the, in a mobile unit or something like that, hitting the north end and the south end. I mean, at some point in time, we might consider that, but
It says creating one office, physical and online, to handle all county data and records needs. So we have more, we're doing that. I mean, you can pull your
You
birth
got it, yeah.
certificate and all of that online
Yeah,
now,
stuff you can
most,
put online.
the tax assessor and the county clerks.
I would almost suggest we're complete with that then, because that's all available.
I would say so too.
Agreed?
Yeah.
55 complete. 56, recycling center, work to provide better health, oh, that's 57. On the recycling center, we don't do any recycling. All we have are the solid waste stations.
We have Twin Oaks, who could, located in the county, that does some recycling.
Do they?
Yeah.
We do have,
There's one in Navasota.
help me out, yeah, there's one in Navasota at the, they used to,
The brush recycling
it
center.
used to be there, but there is a bin there for plastics and paper, and I don't necessarily.
Isn't that across the street from?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to take to your bill, like you said.
Yeah.
Turner Pearson
Mhm.
Foods.
Right.
But as far as, we talked about recycling center some years ago, and at the advisory, BVCOG, nobody's really, it's more, it costs a lot of money to
There's no return on
recycle. There's no
investment.
return.
Well,
I had
what
s-
if we approach C-Force, since they are producing so many plastic bottles, and I mean, I know that's pretty much all I drink now, most of the time, is C-Force water. Why don't we talk to them and see if, they'd be interested in helping us get a recycling, at least a plastic recycling going?
Yeah, I talked to, had some folks that were interested in doing some technology recycling, computers and the like. I talked with Kat, and she got with COG and checked to see that, I mean, they did that apparently several years ago. And, yeah, and apparently that money is non-existent at this time. I think that you, yeah.
And we are still talking about doing that through one of the grants that, if any grant funds become available, and that is one of the goals of the environmental department, is to maybe do another where you can take your computers and TVs, but once again, you can also take them to Twin Oaks.
Right.
They accept that type of.
They also accept metal out there. And they have separate bins for all that stuff.
Well, it says recycling center, if we have Twin Oaks available in Grimes County, are we complete? I heard one yes.
I would say yes.
That's enough. We got a majority.
You getting it done.
Ma'am?
That's not a recycling center, that's a dump.
But they have
They
recycling.
do recycle.
They do
Recycle there.
recycle though.
That was the point I
They
made.
recycle the
Because
metal.
I was in, Pam was helping me, I was trying to get recycling going in the county and had meetings with some county employees. But since then, and I talked with, David,
Lily?
no,
Aguilar.
David Aguilar, with Republic Services on a regular basis, and there's no money in it right now. I mean,
Right.
commodities are down.
Yeah.
It's a,
That's
it's a, yeah.
Funny you mentioned that. We
So
had a
that's why I
conversation.
haven't asked you about it again, because I know the sad story.
It costs them more money to
Right.
recycle than
Right.
it does to
Right.
put the bins up.
And a lot of
Well, they don't
places,
even get money for, used cans anymore. the way they used to.
and a lot of
That
places,
wasn't the case 5 years ago, and,
No.
because I actually toured Republic Services Recycling Center down in Houston, and it was amazing, but things have changed.
you've got places that have stockpile stuff that it costs too much money to pick it up. I mean, that's a discussion all the time at the SWAC meeting, which tomorrow we also have a grant that's being judged tomorrow, and hopefully we'll get some funds for that.
Good.
We're trying to, I think, buy a trailer, aren't we? Yes.
Number 57, I have marked complete, but I don't know why. Work to provide better healthcare options to poor citizens. I mean,
We have Grimes Health Resource Center.
sure.
That's an awesome.
Okay.
thing.
And 58 is marked complete because we've expanded the hours. 59 was marked complete because we.
Can I back you up?
Yep,
You have down there for 57 on the healthcare options, complete with continuous review.
okay. So do we want to put it on that annual review list? That's fine with me.
I think
Sure,
it's
we
Part
can
of
do
it
it
is
there.
indigent healthcare and stuff as far as what we fund as well too.
You know, and that may be one of those things during the budget cycle. I know this year you did inquire with some of the agencies that the county provides funds to, that you get a report, that may be the annual review,
Right?
from people that we're providing contributions for
That's a
elderly
good point.
services.
That's a good point, okay. Number 59, consolidated polling places. I know the EA's looking at that along with the 2 party chairs, but also the opportunity where we have our super centers now where anybody can vote at any one of them. I don't know if that's consolidating, but that's certainly conveniencing
direction.
the voters. I'm gonna suggest that we're complete on 59. Any agree or disagree?
And I know Lucy is working on that.
Right.
What are the expanded county business hours?
Well, the county clerk's office is open during lunch. Tax assessor, of course, they've always been open till 5.
No, they close at 4:30.
Oh, they are closing at 4:30? Okay,
And that gives them 30 minutes to balance their,
right, okay. But they're still working till 5, they're just, okay. And the commissioners, y'all are working 24 plus hours a day, aren't you?
You know it.
24/7.
24/7,
Right.
okay.
You know this, man.
Absolutely. Harry can call me
So,
anytime.
I mean, I
Day or night.
haven't heard any real complaints from any citizen or citizen groups of not having access to any of the county facilities because we are closing early or short or at lunch or things of that sort. I'd suggest that we are complete on that.
You had it complete.
I did last time, yeah. I just had to convince Ms. Nichols a second time.
Well, the expansion of county hours, I mean, we just discussed that there's a lot of services now that can be done online.
True.
And whenever we move out to the.
Excellent
the-
point.
The new building, those services
more so.
will probably expand, online services or.
And better internet.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, number 60, secondary 911 dispatch.
We have that. City of Navasota
Navasota.
took over some of the dispatching duties for cause that bounce off their towers
Right.
and come within there. So you don't have to talk to three different,
We have to do two, but not three.
yes.
So we have number 60 complete, Sheree. 61, park programs for youth and seniors. Those will be equipped differently, I guarantee you. Wheelchair parking here, tricycle parking here. Johnny?
Is it park programs, is that what it said?
Yes.
Park programs for youth and seniors, yeah.
So park programs, so there is a new skateboard park, I don't know how new it is in Minnesota.
I was
It's-
just
it's about-
visualizing some senior in a wheelchair.
So that's for seniors.
Yeah. I don't know that we can take credit for that because that's strictly a Navasota project.
I'm just trying to think of what programs have been instituted since 2015.
I really don't know.
Do you think this was driven by Grace Park? I mean, if you go back at the time that that we held all these meetings, that may have been what was behind it.
Pretty sure.
Let me
You'd have
see
to
what it
re-educate me
says.
on Grace Park. I don't even remember that
That's some
conversation.
property on the west end that was donated by the Miller family to be
Mhm.
used for a park.
Mhm.
But the residents, I guess you'd say, need to, or have to buy in and
Yes,
contribute
it's
a little
community
bit
built.
financially. The city of Navasota has donated some money from its parks funds, but if they qualify for a grant, they've got to come up with that match.
Yeah.
And that hasn't been achieved yet.
And the other thing was, in the process, the drainage there was disastrous. So now that the grant has been funded and the work is being done, they're dealing with the drainage issue in that area. So we had to put a hold on it until drainage could be dealt with. We got into some we went from like $100,000 to over $2 million project. And so it was a community-built effort in the beginning with Kaboom grants, but we realized we had a bigger issue with floodwaters in the area, so.
So it went from Kaboom to Kapow, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it says on here, develop volunteer-driven programs for young people and senior citizens, perhaps even launching programs that bring these populations together behind activities of mutual interest, like your gardens and stuff like that. Over there, we're gonna do the gardens, community gardens. So I think, there's been some efforts on other, but I did hear, the Master Gardeners of Grimes, Master Gardeners of Grimes County,
Right.
they're wanting to put in some gardens, and they have asked permission to put some over at the Navasota Annex to where people can come volunteer and help with the fruit trees, and they want to plant a series of trees that are fruit and, to
Okay.
teach kids and stuff, seniors.
So where would you suggest we're at?
We're in the implementation stage of that with the Master Gardeners.
Okay.
Well, 4-H is a big youth.
Yeah.
So I would say, let's put it under
Annual review?
annual review, and right now, Master Gardeners is part of Texas Extension, Ag Extension.
Right. Not to overload either Commissioner Cox or Walker, but you guys are located there. Is it easy for y'all to?
They did approach me about it, so I don't mind working with them.
Okay. 62, I had that marked as complete. New Citizens Directory information just for new residents. Wasn't there something, Johnny, that your group, the chamber was doing with that?
We do a relocation guide, is that what we're
Yeah,
discussing?
I think so.
Yes.
Okay.
That we provide to,
Because I had that marked complete from last time. And then the countywide information is Spanish, that was marked complete. Water treatment plant, number 64, that'd have to be area specific. I don't know who or where
I
or,
think that would be Iola more than likely.
Water treatment, I mean, we've got all kind of water treatment. I mean, that's unless they're talking about wastewater treatment.
Yeah, we have an ongoing,
Water treatment will be all the,
Do you have 64 with you? You don't, do you?
to address the
they really don't have
growing,
plants, they just have a
number of
chlorinate.
Spanish-speaking.
No,
Water
Water
treatment.
treatment plant.
water treatment.
The county could consider the construction of water treatment plants for wastewater processing.
Okay, so what's
Collect
wastewater?
all of it at once.
That covers the whole thing. In and out.
I
That's,
think
that's a
we've
city,
been
that's a
discussing-
city.
Put it on the annual review.
Yeah.
Let's put,
I
mean,
let's,
unless you wanna-
Sheree, put that to annual review, unless what?
Unless Commissioner.
Well, that would
Malley
be in
has another-
concentrated areas, which would be.
Yeah, and you
city
have that going with
cities.
cities applying with, for,
For grant money?
yes.
So what, are we complete?
That's probably what that was from, with the one up there. Yeah.
That's as expensive as building your building.
Well, I understand, I understand.
Yes, indeed.
But there are still grants, just like Iola got a grant and other areas are receiving grants through TCEQ. Who the grant
Well,
funding is.
Well, the strategic plan's not going away. Let's put it on an annual review,
Annual review,
okay?
water treatment.
Number 65, move asphalt equipment into area instead of dumping and spreading.
I think that was my predecessor.
You've been dumping and
He
spreading.
wanted the county to own an asphalt plant.
Oh.
Right. No. We'll contract that when we
need
want
to
it.
Compete with the private sector.
Yeah.
They do a fine job.
So that's.
So,
We do.
uh,
Removed from the list.
yeah, remove from list.
Johnson.
66, create an advisory panel. We've done that when necessary,
Yes.
complete. And John C. is the one that wants to hire a country manager.
A county.
I mean, a county manager.
You would be country.
Was he looking for the job?
Sir?
Was he looking for the?
No, he just thinks the system that they have in Navasota works pretty good, where you got a mayor,
Yes,
but then you got somebody who's kind of the hitman. But I don't mind being the hitman for the county for the time, at least through my term. So,
So we mark that as what? What do we do there? What did you put it there?
I'd leave it on the list and leave it unassigned and no,
Okay.
announce at a later date. So Sheree, when do you think you can have the revised list?
Tomorrow.
Okay. Not this afternoon?
Oh, he's tired.
Okay.
Can't focus.
If,
Capital T.
if you could have it before the next regular commissioners court, and then we'll have it in our boxes beforehand, okay?
Okay.
And we can just confirm very quickly through that list, all right? Commissioners, thank you very much,
Thank
but
you.
before anybody thinks about leaving, I want to go back to agenda item number 3.
Oh, wait,
Do I have an agenda item number 3?
Yeah.
do we need to
Go ahead.
make a motion to approve the changes that we made? Because it's like an action item or.
We're in a workshop. I don't think
It's
we
a
can.
special meeting.
Is it special
Well, I
meeting?
mean, it's still a special meeting, but it's a workshop, so we have it listed as both.
Is there a motion
I don't
from
know what to
anyone to,
No, it doesn't say that.
I don't think so.
It's not actually.
the workshop, we're done.
Workshop.
Make the revisions, pass out the list, but I will go to agenda item number 3. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I make the motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned at 3:21.
Now, Miss Mary.